Hello everybody, Larry Young here again with another segment of OLaMan Living Life with Purity. And in this segment, I want to go back over a segment I did a couple podcasts ago when I talked about where heaven is and what it's like. I got a few really interesting questions about that. And I said I would try to kind of come back and double back on this a little bit. And I want to amplify on some things to answer some of the questions people had asked. So Stephen Hubble was the amateur astronomer back in the 1920s who discovered and theorized that there was an accelerating factor that was going on in the cosmos out there with all the planets moving apart, from the Big Bang theory, that the further out they get from their original starting point, the further out they get, the faster that they're accelerating away from the blast zone or the ignition point. So he noticed this was going on. He saw that the universe and all the galaxies were expanding outward. So it was Stephen Hubble, and I think that was 1929. And he really changed the thinking in the astronomy areas and people thinking about the galaxies and all this other stuff. So it affected guys like Einstein and whatnot. And Einstein agreed. And mathematically, he said, this makes sense. And he actually then theorized and brought about the idea about what we call the cosmic horizon, which is the area that's between our galaxies and our what we see, the stars in the sky and all like this, Milky Way, everything that goes with it, even stuff that's further out beyond that we can't see. The things that are out further beyond that, that is at the basic end of the galaxies, he says there is this cosmic horizon, which is out there that extends around all the galaxies, and it kind of holds everything in a little bit. And when something reaches that cosmic horizon at the other end, the other side of all that we see going on, that when you get out there, this light and everything is moving at the speed of light, 186,000 miles an hour. And that is an area where no physical matter can exist, because physical matter, no matter how small it is, that for it to move at the speed of light, it has to be broken down to its most basic elements of protons. And so that would mean that even something like this was trying to get through this cosmic horizon. It would be expanded out because its mass would grow, 50,000 times bigger than this. It would have to be so large and so complicated. And then I don't know if then it would still make it through. I'm not that kind of mathematician, but matter can't make it through the cosmic horizon. Only energy can pass through, or light, which is energy. So a lot of things in that area then become light driven, because that's the speed they're moving, and that's what a person's vision or their take on things would be. They would be seeing this light moving at light speed. That's what it would be. So I know it's really weird stuff out there, but that's why we're here on Earth and we just live as humans. But at the same time, at this cosmic horizon, time stops. Everything is timeless. Everything just is in a matter of the now and existing. There is no future. There is no past. There's only now. And that makes sense, because that's what heaven is on the other side of this cosmic horizon. Everything in heaven is light. Now, light. What is the source of this light? When we're on this side of the cosmic horizon, we have stars and other things that are creating light of them by themselves through their burning of fuels, this nuclear reaction that's going on all the time with these stars and hot planets and things like that. So that kind of light comes from this side of the cosmic horizon. Its light can get through the cosmic horizon but it's still going to be changed in some way. And I forget how Einstein talked about this in his theory of special relativity. And so I'm going to try to dig in on that a little bit. But I would submit that there's two different kinds of light. There's a light that's made from the planets and the suns and the things that we're used to and what we see and what provides our life-giving existence on this planet and in other planets. There's that kind of light. But then there's God's light on the other side of this cosmic horizon. And God's light is God's presence himself. God is. God does not have a physical structure. God does not have an actual face. When the Bible says that God made man in his image was one of love. God's image is love. God does not have a face. God does not have a body. That was why he needed to create himself in the form of Jesus Christ, to come to this world, to be born of a human, to become man. And that was why he wasn't able to bring himself. I mean, he probably could have. I mean, he's God. He can do whatever the heck he wants. But the way he'd set things up with this physical barrier to keep the world at one side and heaven on the other makes sense. Time stands still. The light is ever pervasive. There's no physical body. This is why on the last day, when God's going to raise people up and then reunite the bodies with the souls in heaven, then there will be this possible physical entrance into heaven for these bodies. I don't know what that's going to be like. I don't know if that was metaphor, but what I saw on my event back in 2001, I did not see any physical anything. All I saw was this light. And the light was not the kind of light like we have on earth and we see around us. This light had an actual sort of presence to it. It had a texture, if you will. It wasn't just plain light. And I didn't really see anything so much as I felt the presence of other things. And I think this is what heaven for souls is going to be like, is that you will know each other by the feelings and the way you knew each other. That's why it's important to realize that the most important things in life aren't things. It's the lives you've touched and the difference that you've made in those lives along the way. This is what gathers you into the communion of saints that God has for his home and his people that he brings to be with him in his place, heaven. So don't worry so much about your body. Worry more about if God has a place in your heart and you're thinking about things. Is God with you? Are you with God as you go about your day? You know, you're going to make mistakes. We're all going to fail. It happens. We sin. But we try to come back and not do it again. The learning curve, if you will. Get us across that cosmic horizon so we can all join the saints in heaven. With that, I love you, and I'll be back.